This is a short presentation about position arguments, which are evidence-based persuasion and reasoned points of view. So the position argument is, like the other genres we're working with this semester, a genre that you'll see in your college career and often. But it's also a genre that you can find in many settings outside of your life as a student at the college. All genres have a history, one that depends upon the changing conditions of discourse, what social settings, institutions, and structures of power and exchange make possible. Charles Bazerman, who I've now mentioned many times to you before, says in an essay called Hot Politics, The Changing Places of Political Participation in the Age of the Internet, that he traces the development of the public sphere where more and more people participate in the exchange of political information and opinion, partly through the institution of the printing press and the many places that print began to appear once the printing press as a technology became available. The printing press made the distribution of printed news possible, and that in turn made it possible for people through print to express points of view on political affairs and other public doings. Bazerman sees the internet as an extension of an expanding repertoire of possible participations, and many people who used to only read position arguments, particularly in the form of news commentaries, now can create and circulate their own, as well as advance and forward the points of view that they deem most valuable. The position argument is related to the commentary, or another way to put it is that the commentary is one species of the position argument. You can find commentaries in newspapers or news sites in pages that are often called the opinion and editorial pages. Commentaries basically take current issues and frame points of view about them based on reasoned argument and evidence-based persuasion, but also on taking the opposite or opposing points of view into account. Another instance of the position argument or the position paper is something we call the white paper. White papers occur in more than one setting, but typically they occur in public institutions, often nonprofits or advocacy groups. Here's one example of a white paper that was published by an organization who's interested in social media. And here's another portal that shows white papers, and it's from the website called The Hill. This portal shows a bunch of organizations and their various white papers. So here's Google and its white papers, including white papers on access to broadband internet, and it makes the claim that that policies ought to support greater access for all people to broadband internet. So to write a position argument, you have to understand your audience, and you have to understand a bunch of things about the audience. First of all, you have to imagine who are the possible audiences, because the world is not made up of only one single audience. Different groups of people have different points of view and share different values, belief systems, and so on. To understand your audience, you need to do some research into them and to understand where they're coming from, and this will in turn help you shape your own response to them. If you haven't viewed the videos on using sources and on argument, I encourage you to review those videos to get some more ideas for how to structure an argument and how to think about your audience and your sources as a way of connecting with your audiences. And then you need to think about a fitting response. As always, a fitting response is dependent upon the situation you're writing in. And it's dependent, one of the things that's in that situation is your audience. So as you think about how to respond to a particular situation with a position argument, you might want to think as well about the medium and the mode. Think about what kind of text your reader will respond to.